Larry, what questions do you have for us today?
Well, I've got a whole bunch. Unusual weather. Anybody experiencing it?
Oh, you're going to get a lot of response to that.
And Lake Lagunitas is full.
Really?
If any of you want to come back, bring your bathing suit and your paddle board and your long underwear.
Oh,
Maybe what is it? A cold suit? What is it?
Wetsuit.
Wetsuit. Yeah.
We just had Mardi Gras, so we'd love to hear any of your great experiences at Mardi Gras.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Those that are repeatable.
Yeah. Oh, right. As for
But we'd
Carol,
love to hear even those that aren't repeatable.
Carol and Nancy, you need to know that ahead of time.
And we always talk about what we do at reunions. So I thought I would include some of Jake's questions to us regarding reunions.
oh, Jim Madison's on.
Hi there, Jim. Glad you're on.
How's the weather in Hawaii today?
It's sunny through rain and clouds. It's sunny at the beach, but up here it's pretty windy. So
We're having huge winds here in the Bay Area, just in cold. And up on Skyline, it's snowing.
I know.
Oh my heavens.
That's crazy.
I know. Yeah. Get your skis out.
And
Our
I was up,
exercise class this morning was canceled because the instructor comes from up on top of the hill. She couldn't get out of her driveway with the snow. Yeah.
And she
Crazy.
didn't have change for the car.
Yeah.
Somebody told me that on Mauna Kea there was so much snow and it went down to 16 degrees.
Oh,
Ooh.
God.
and we were without power for 3 days, so it was cold.
Oh, I have
you
to
have a
share 'cause
fireplace.
we go to that island, not all the time. When we go to that island, and Mauna Kea was down to 16 degrees up there.
That's what a friend told me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
They had a lot
that's
of rain. No, it was the Big Island and Kauai that have had the most rain. We've been, it hasn't been that bad. It rains and stops and rains and stops.
There's Marilyn. Hi.
Hi,
Welcome.
Marilyn.
Good to see you.
My daughter and son live in Humboldt, and she has like a small farm. And she sent me a picture. It's just the trees, the redwood trees, and everything are beautiful. But
that would be,
yeah, lots of snow.
There's the Fernandez. Hi, Judy.
Hi, how are you? Mr.
Hi.
Handsome is coming.
Oh, good. Good.
Yeah.
At Stanford to go to the Stanford Hawaii volleyball game, which he really liked, and Hawaii won.
There you are.
Oh, good.
There you go.
Walt's right next to you.
Patty, are we supposed to have anybody on today that has not been on one of our previous mini reunions?
Yes, we're hoping to have Misty DeYoung, Missy Brandt.
Oh, Missy Grant.
All right.
And she she agreed that she'd like to do this, and she was given the information. So I'm just counting on her coming in. Here's John Thorne. He's coming on.
Why don't we get started? Obviously, we have the best of the class. I went down to Drager's food store yesterday, and in the middle of my shopping, all the power went out. And I was the only one among the hundreds standing in line to check out that had cash.
Yes.
So I went to the head of the line.
Yes.
That's a good story.
Skyline and Mount Hamilton and Mount Diablo are just gorgeous today. And for those of you who came on late, we said that Lagunitas is full of water for the first time in a decade at least.
well, I was without power for 3 days, so we were the only street in Ladera that didn't get their power back till today. I just got it back about 2 hours ago. But I must admit, it's darn cold here, even though we have a fireplace. But fortunately, so we can get heat that way.
Well, our daughter and
You wanna sit
son-in-law
real
live in
close, you can
Woodside,
look.
and it got so cold out there, it drove a mountain lion down off the hill, and one of the neighbors lost their kitty cat, which they didn't have in the house soon enough.
Uh-oh.
Walt, what's
Oh, no,
happening
no, I
weather-wise with
understand
you?
that. This
But
is the question though, why?
Can you hear them?
The sun is shining.
Really?
It's about 20 degrees.
So are you going outside?
I have to go to choir practice. Otherwise, I'm not going outside.
Have any of you ever celebrated Mardi Gras in one of those places that really celebrates it?
I was in on Canal Street on Fat Tuesday evening one night years ago now. Fascinating in several ways. One, of course, by two, the fact that ours had planks sitting on stools outside so that you could drink outside on the street. The big drink was hurricanes, or I can't remember.
Give me the red speaker, Bill.
What?
Give me the red
And
speaker.
promptly at midnight,
Plug it in, switch that into the-
the curtain came down. And there were New Orleans police on motorcycles coming down on the street next to the curbs, and then mounted police in the middle of the street, and everybody who had been mingling on the street
It's not gonna work.
got off within about 60 seconds. There's booze.
I got here.
Yeah,
Finally.
it's-
Hi, Marge. Yeah,
Hi, Boots.
it worked.
Good.
Now, Marge and I see Boots a couple of times a week because we are the newest members of the exercise class that she's been working with for years. And I'll tell you, I'm the only male in the class, and I just can't keep up with those who have been doing this for years.
I'm recovering from a bonked knee. So you can't see my bonked knee, but it's okay. It's getting a lot better. But I just stumbled, all you have to do is stumble a little bit on a very hard surface. And I was going up my brick steps to my front door, holding my mail and having gotten it from the mailbox. And I wasn't watching where I was going. Oh boy, dumb. Now I'm up and around and back in the aerobics class.
Hi, Vincent. Can you hear us?
I hear you.
Vince, bring us up to date on what you've been doing since we saw you last at graduation.
Well,
It's a long time.
that's a few years ago. I practiced medicine till I was 75, and then I worked in a free clinic for about 12 years, and then I'm now 91, and I'm just retiring, just enjoying life down here in Indian Wells, California, in the desert near Palm Springs.
Very good.
With my wife and I are just living a life of enjoyment with friends and just having a wonderful time doing nothing.
What was your medical specialty?
OBGYN and infertility in San Jose.
Wow.
Delivered 6,333 babies in a
Oh, my-
lifetime and created about
Wow.
500, helped about 500 more families have children. I graduated at Stanford, as you well know, in 53 with you people. And then I went to USC in Los Angeles, graduated there at 57. Then I came back to the county hospital at Santa Clara in San Jose and did my internship and 3 years of residency in OBGYN.
Well, it sounds like you might have another reason to come up for our 70th reunion in October.
I know, I'm thinking about it. If God willing, I'm capable, I'll be there.
Good. And Don's on. Hey, Don.
Yes, I got through the dentist quickly. And I
Uh-huh.
just finished COVID 2 days ago,
Oh,
Don,
but I had no symptoms whatsoever.
how many days did you test positive?
About 6.
John, what prompted you to think that you had COVID?
Oh, my son was staying with me temporarily and he came down with it. And we tried to isolate each other, but that didn't work. So I tested and appropriately and found I had it. Going to Kauai.
Great.
Mhm.
Weather report from Kauai.
Hi, Judy.
You want me to-
Hi, weather report from Kauai. We have had 2 or 3 weeks of constant rain and flooding and high winds.
Oh, lovely. Well, I hope that's done for by the end of March.
Well, they said you should not go swimming for the next 2 weeks because the water is so polluted everywhere on the island.
Even in my swimming pool?
Oh, swimming pool, fine.
Okay, I'm not going in the ocean, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, it's been terrible weather.
John, how
I'm
are you
sorry.
getting your swimming pool over there?
Yeah, well, I'll have a good time. And then my son-in-law has a business meeting in Waikiki. So then we go to meet up with him in Waikiki. But there I can swim, I think.
That's good. Swimming pools are fine.
But I think Waikiki Beach is very, very safe.
Yeah.
Well, they were saying today that not to go in the water until tomorrow because it's very, very rough.
Oh, really? Even at Waikiki?
Yeah.
Mhm, okay.
Yeah, we've had huge waves.
Unusual, you know.
Does one of you people live there in Hawaii?
Yeah, I do.
You do, yes.
Don, it's Boots again. This whole business about the polluting of the waters around our shores. Our youngest grandson, 22, is an avid surfer, and he's been staying and living in our beach house on Monterey Bay at Paro Dunes. And he suddenly got very, very sick about 3 or 4 weeks ago. And he'd been surfing almost every day. He'd go out with a whole bunch of buddies. And the next thing he knew, he was running 103 temperature.
From the water.
And he got to the hospital, but he's a very healthy guy other than that. So naturally they tested him for COVID. It was not, but he had pneumonia.
Oh
my God.
And he was hospitalized for several days, and they had to figure out, the proper medication to try and get rid of the pneumonia. And that took a while, but he's doing much, much better now. But
Anyway, pneumonia is a lot better than a white shark attack anyhow.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
What does that have to do with surfing?
What, white
He was in
shark?
the ocean. This kid, Allie, he was surfing off of the California coast. He said he noticed the water was all kind of muddy looking, and I'd heard on the radio here that one should not, they didn't say it more than about once, that you should really avoid going into the ocean for the next few days until it looks better. And I don't know anything more than that, but I think we cannot figure what else it could have been than he.
It most likely was what we call brown water, and where the ocean looks brown from all of the sewage, the cesspools that empty into it, agriculture, brown water stay out.
Yeah. Thank you.
During our period of really intensive rain in December and early January, the sewerage systems were just being overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Yeah, Boots, did you have any damage to your beach house? The whole coast there took such a hit from the waves.
Well, I haven't been down for a couple of months now. And as you know, I lost my wonderful husband, George, in the end of September. And
Really didn't know.
so, yeah, he was 95 and he was going downhill. We knew that, not from COVID. He just kind of, everything was, collapsing at once. But no, we built this beach house, over 50 years ago, right there on the shores of Monterey Bay, and just loved it. But I think that's just such an amazing thing to know that it wasn't COVID, it was the sewage waters, or it was draining of all those agricultural fields that are also right
The
around
runoff, yeah.
right there. And so I'm thinking, oh boy, that's probably it.
Mhm.
Where are you, Pajaro Dunes?
Yeah, yeah.
That's nice.
He actually, you know where Moss Landing is with the big smokestacks?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
where he and his
Yep.
buddies, it's a secret beach that hardly anybody knows about. And so that he goes down there and before dawn, every single morning.
Donnie, I was asking you if you've been doing any
Oh,
traveling.
no, but next week I'm going to Mexico.
Oh, wow.
Really? Where are
my-
you going?
For,
Marilyn?
you know, my kids are at the point where they have you can't give them anything for Christmas. So my 4 daughters and I are going on a 1-week cruise to just down to Baja. And my son's going to come and take care of all our animals. So
Good.
we
Wonderful.
leave next Thursday.
Oh, you have 4 daughters?
Yeah. 4.
Wonderful.
Yeah, they're great. They're wonderful.
And
So
one son.
one lives in Spokane, so she's flying in next Tuesday, and one lives in Chicago. And then one lives in Humboldt, where it was snowing today, and then one lives here in Stockton. So yeah, it's just 7 days of,
And
you know, not doing anything, reading books and eating. That's about
That's
it.
nice of your son to stay behind and take care of the animals.
Yeah, I don't think he was anxious to be with a bunch of, he's with,
Marilyn, whereabouts in Humboldt County?
they live up in Eureka. We've talked, yeah, Joan lives in Fieldbrook, which is just north of Arcata. She taught in Eureka all her career. And my son lives in Bayside, which is right above, it's above Arcata.
Oh.
So they both have lived there ever since, they were in their 20s. She went to graduate school there and stayed and
At
taught.
what is now Cal Poly Humboldt?
Cal Poly. She retired, but she's
Isn't that
teaching animal
It's
husbandry.
weird. Humboldt State University has been renamed Cal Humboldt.
Well, it's part of Cal Poly and very popular. And there was an article in the Chronicle the other day about they're thinking of more dorm space and maybe floating a ship off the coast of Eureka to house.
Yeah,
They would put it in the bay there.
There's no rentals it's really a problem. And we were there. My granddaughter graduated last May, and she's teaching it's her first year of teaching, but we went to the graduation and they were getting rid of all the old Humboldt State. They were giving away, I don't know, everything that had Humboldt State on it because it had become Cal Poly. So
Was your daughter in the Arcata system or in the Eureka system?
Eureka, yeah. And she
What-
knows her friend. I remember maybe I didn't send it to you, but I thought I sent you an email. My son knew your friend. My son's an electrician and he rewired her house.
Oh, for heaven's sakes.
Yeah,
I'd forgotten that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it was before COVID, the last reunion I guess I went to. And he said, did she live way out in an old house in the country or something? And then
No.
Joan knew her because my daughter raises goats, among other things. And she had either sold her goats or she had something to do with goats.
You could use your computer.
Anyway,
Marilyn-
it's a small world.
Marilyn-
I couldn't believe it. Yeah, it was funny when both Bill and Joan knew.
Marilyn, your next cruise should be from San Francisco to Hawaii and back.
Yeah.
That's a
did
wonderful.
that my junior year, I went to the University of Hawaii in when I was 20 years old. It was very exciting because you could legally drink. Not that I was into that, but 20 was the age that you could drink. Yeah, I went with a bunch of Diane Bullivant, who did my was with, I can't even remember. It was a group. There were it was Berkeley, a lot of Bay Area. And we went to the university and we got credit. We got Stanford credit for the classes if you took it. So anyway, it was great.
No, I did ski after my freshman year, and we took a class from Bus. You know, he was a professor of political science.
Yeah, I remember him.
On Bus.
I had
You
a
know, my
lot of
daughter, they dormed us at Putaho, and my daughter's social studies classroom was our old dorm. I went with Penny North and Pat Sullivan, if you knew them.
Okay, Marilyn, a question about your son. Is he the only male in the family?
Yes.
How did he possibly survive with 4 daughters, with 4 sisters?
Every time I came home from the hospital, he was very disappointed.
Was he the oldest? Is he the oldest?
The second oldest. I actually, well, yeah. Yeah.
And you seem to have a lot of educators following in your footsteps, huh?
Yeah, I'm really proud of him.
That's great.
Yeah.
Vince, have you done any travels outside the United States? Vince Nola?
Have I recently?
Oh,
Or at all?
anytime.
Not real recently. We were in Italy a few years ago on a tour, and then I was on a boat ride from Barcelona all the way down to Turkey through the Greek islands a few years ago too.
Okay.
We enjoyed the trip on Oceania with our friends, and it was a 2-week trip, great 15-day trip from Barcelona. And the other one, when we went on the Baltic, was started in Stockholm up to St. Petersburg, through Finland and Copenhagen and Denmark and Berlin and Brussels. And ended up in England on the White Cliffs.
Ooh, the White Cliffs. Great.
Walt, what kind of weather have you been having? Is it what we hear on the newspaper, or what is it?
Actually, the storms have been north and south. We've had a fairly benign winter here. We haven't gotten much snow. What we get is gone in a day. And we haven't had a terrible cold snap. But while Houston has been sweltering, and in the north, they're all blizzarded out. I've been delighted. It's been fairly benign here.
In looking at the screen, it seems that everybody on the screen is living in their own home. What are your views about your future living plans?
Good question.
Well, I've got a niche in a local cemetery.
That's your future plan.
I do too.
Yep.
I think we'd all like to stay in our own homes as long as we can.
Well, if you got children nearby that can help you, it's a tremendous assistance.
Yes, they're very naggy sometimes, though.
Yeah.
We're in the same boat. I don't think we have any plans for the V or anything along that line.
Now, this last year, I had my master bathroom remodeled to have a walk-in shower, and my children helped negotiate it. And I got a washer dryer unit put up on my second floor, so I didn't have to go to the basement to lift my laundry up two floors. So, but I'm acknowledging, I don't know how long this is going to go on, but I prefer to continue as long as I can where I am.
Well, there's something to be said for it, because you know where everything is and you can navigate more safely, I think, if you're in familiar surroundings.
You're right.
And the thought of going through all your stuff, taking it out, it's not to be approached.
Yes, leave it for your heirs to
Yeah,
sort.
leave it for them, yes.
My son who lives with me is constantly at me, Dad, get rid of your shit. I don't want having to do it after you die.
Well, you might have to.
So I promise every day I get rid of something.
Each time one of my daughters visits, she proceeds to bring up a box out of one of my filing cabinets down in the basement. And we're gradually making headway of getting rid of it. But I have an unusual advantage because the Kansas State Archives, as part of the Kansas State Historical Society, has the records and the history of the Menninger Clinic and Foundation here in Topeka. And they have asked me to not throw out my papers, but to give it to them, give the papers to them, and they'll worry about it.
I do keep hearing about the idea that, no, you put it on a disc and then get rid of it.
I certainly hired a firm to digitize my old slides that I had of the family. And that worked out beautifully. I got rid of all the slides and just have this little digitized equipment.
I need to talk to you, Don.
Yeah, me too. Me
Yeah,
too.
there are companies that will do that for you.
I'd like a suggestion of a company, and did you mail them to them or take them or what?
Mail.
Oh, I just heard about them and
Did you mail the slides or take them?
Yep.
I mailed them I had to mail them the slides.
You had to mail them.
Yes.
I
sent them back and it was done beautifully. It was a firm in Arizona, if I recall.
Maybe you can tell Patty what it is and you could share that, Patty.
I can do that. I'll use it myself.
It's been about 10 years ago, so I just don't know if they still exist even.
Oh.
My daughter was going to do it and Costco did it, but this January they stopped there.
They don't do it anymore?
Apparently not.
That's what my son-in-law was supposed to find out for me. Okay, that's still that.
They quit that.
Well, double check.
Do a lot of you have boxes of slides that you took years ago?
3 big boxes, yes.
Yeah.
I even have my mother's.
With respect,
There's something called Legacy that sends emails to me every day. Do you know anything about that? They say they do all kinds of photo conversions. Legacy?
Mary, I think that you should ask Legacy to give you some names of references and call them yourself, because that sounds like a really good option for you. And especially since you're saying these others, we have somebody, Terry's a great photographer. And so we have masses of slides, whatever, all kinds of stuff. And we have a man who's in New Mexico who does it, but I won't give you his name because he's already booked for, years. But there's tons of other companies that do that. And if you just go online, and you'll get all kinds of names, and all you do is send it to them. And I've heard lots of people say they've had great luck with it.
It's also a chance to cull your pictures and throw out the ones that aren't worth keeping.
No, Don, slides are very vulnerable. They have a very limited lifetime.
Yeah.
And, if you send your collection of them to one of these processing companies, they will automatically throw out the ones that are irreplaceable, that have irreplaceable damage, and they will really only charge you for the ones that are.
So it's a chance to call out the pictures that are duplicative or not very good, just to get rid of them.
Yeah.
Reduce the volume that you have.
Yeah, that's true.
We were way behind the times when people were taking pictures and having slides made. We seem to have a bunch of photography albums of Kodak shots.
Oh, yeah.
I have boxes and boxes of them.
Yeah. I shipped albums, so they'll do all kinds of stuff for you.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. And really, the guy that's been doing it for us has just done a beautiful job, to the point, I make movies. And when it's all digitized and you can look at it on a screen, like on my computer, you don't know how fast it is for me to just scan. And as I've gone over them, I know what stuff is there. If I'm looking to make a movie and I want to put together these various things for somebody's birthday or something, it's so easy to pick those out. Just link it, do copy, 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 put your cursor on a new page and say paste. And oh my God, there's all the pictures. So it's really worth doing because you can do stuff with it. Otherwise, it's just laying in a box. And, we're all saying, oh, well, when I die, they'll go over it. That's just brutal. The only thing is, I'm sure they all charge something to do it. But when we did it, the guy that we've been sending it to for years, he charges a lot of money. I don't care, because it is so wonderful to get it done. And then I shared it all with my kids. I don't have to give it to anybody. Or if my house burns down and it all burns up, they've all got the same copies of all that stuff that I do. So it's really, really wonderful.
I would
Thanks,
suggest
Marge.
going to a local camera shop, a good one, and get references from them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not hard. There are a lot of people who do it.
Lots of people.
Yeah.
And your kids will love them, but they would hate getting your pictures.
Yep. They don't want your pic. Nobody wants your pictures anymore.
However, but the slides and pictures are labeled. And
when I get all my pictures back, every picture has a label. Every picture becomes a quote document, right? Every document has a name, has a title. You can tell him this whole batch, this whole box is all Hawaii. Call it Hawaii 01, Hawaii 02, or call it Hawaii 1996 or Hawaii whatever.
Mhm.
They'll do whatever you tell them, but they will title it. And when you look on your screen later, like your computer, because now you want to do something with it, you'll see Hawaii 1, Hawaii 2, or Hawaii 1996, whatever you told it to be. So it becomes very organized. And I've ended up creating a movie for each of my children now every year. And it just, because, and I use all those movies, I add music to it and make a nice, I have a voiceover and I make a nice little story out of it. It's just a better gift than buying something or other for them.
Marge, how much do you charge?
How much do I charge? If you get all of your pictures digitized, I would help you make a movie.
Oh, I've got a son who got into computing early, and he actually takes all of he has on, I mean, I can access on the net or whatever, but he has his files of all the family photographs and so forth. He's already put
you were
them in
lucky.
and given access to his siblings. So I don't worry about it. He's the one who's keeping the archives for the family.
Great.
When I digitized mine, I had 2 copies made, one that could be put onto the computer and the other that you could put on the TV.
Exactly.
So you have 2, depending in the future what technologies exist.
Or you can buy an external drive. I have a one hooked up right now. It's this small. I've got a label on it that says this is my Seagate drive, and everything that gets to be too big for my computer is gonna bum out. I just save it all right here. And when I create a movie, I go here because my computer gets hysterical if I try to make movies. And so I just ignore my computer and I go straight to this. So this is called an external drive. And it's plugged into one of the little holes on my computer. And this is like 10 trigabytes. What do you call it? What's the
Terabytes.
terabyte? 10 terabytes on this little thing. And you can get them, they're like 10 terabytes on this. That's massive. I mean, I've got tons of movies and because I'm working on it on this thing, which is attached to my computer, it's just plugged in. But because I'm keeping it off my computer allows me to do all this stuff with you without getting frantic because more, you've got too much other stuff going on. I don't bother my computer at all. I go straight to that drive. And that drive was like, I forget, $20, $30.
Yeah.
We're just talking about modest cost to make things work for you so you can actually do this stuff.
And
Thank
your
you, Marge.
local historical society would much rather get one of your Seagate drives than your 40 boxes of binders full of slides.
These are called, that's the brand name is Seagate. Seagate is a very reputable drive maker. This is a drive, and this is your computer has a drive in it.
Yeah.
But this is an external separate drive that you can unplug and carry around with you.
We have a new visitor.
Dorcas,
They're
hi
the
there.
avocados.
Oh my gosh.
Come
Look
back
at
from the
those.
dentist.
Dorcas.
Oh, look at the avocados. My gosh.
Now, is that a photo? What is that, Dorcas?
What?
A poster, the avocados?
Behind you.
You sitting in the grove?
Me? Oh, that's just Peter. It's the screen that he put there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We saw him. He just quickly left.
Yeah, he left to go do something else. I just got back from the dentist.
Okay.
And I was hoping you were still on.
We're still here. We love your background.
Good.
You know, I was saying earlier that Walt and I, in addition to Charlotte Messick, do have a roster of individuals. If there's anybody on the call who has a friend that they would like to invite to be in a future mini reunion Zoom call, let us know, and we can give you at least the contact information that the Alumni Association has, so that you can reach out to them.
By the way, Jack Louderbaugh said he sent his greetings. He had a physical therapy appointment today and couldn't join us. So hopefully he'll join us next time.
No, it's in one of the file cabinets.
Well, we can get that later, but that's who we're looking for. And it's a matter of the emails. If I get the email, then I can send out the information.
Yeah.
And if you don't know the emails, I can furnish emails.
Oh, good. Good.
Thank you for setting these up, Patty. It's really very nice.
You need to know that it's Marge and Terry that are doing this. And they do all of the technical stuff. And all I
You
have to
keep
do
track
is,
of us. You keep track of us.
well, I try.
Patty, do you send to Nancy Sharp? I called her Nancy Clark. That was her old name. Nancy Sharp, you know, in Palo Alto.
Nancy and Eugene are really having some physical problems that prevent them. They have hearing problems. They can't really use this particular menu.
I talked to her around Christmas.
Excuse me, guys. I've got John Thorne on the phone. He's got technical difficulties. And he says the name we're asking for is it Kim? Lynn, what's Lynn Larson.
Oh.
Was that her maiden name?
Is that her maiden name? Marilyn Warnicki.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
She's the
I
same as
remember
this.
now. Her name was the same as mine. Why can't I remember?
Okay. So,
And she lives in Walnut Creek.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll tell you what's your current name?
What's the current name, John? Lynn and the last name?
Yeah.
L
Pat, you want her email?
Larsen.
Yeah.
Larson.
Yeah.
And
Patty,
Yeah, I
where does
got
she
it.
live, John?
Patty,
She
I'll
lives
send
down
you
the
her.
hall from John in Irvine.
Yeah,
Irvine.
I'll send Patty. I'll send you her email.
Okay.
Okay, she's in Irvine, is
Thank you,
she?
John. We're all communicate. Can you hear us?
Because he's on just with the name.
Okay, so I'm telling you guys, he can hear. Oh, here, I can put him on.
John's muted.
I'll put you on speaker. Say hi, John.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, John.
Hi,
Hi,
John.
Okay, he can hear you and he can see you, but he can't speak to you. So we're doing it on the phone with him.
Well, he's
Okay.
got a phone connection showing, and he's muted.
Tell him
Yeah.
to unmute.
You
Unmute
can
on his
unmute, John, unmute.
No,
and join the video.
because you're on my computer. My computer has no microphone.
Ah,
Oh.
computer has no microphone.
Oh, okay.
So he's just wanting you to know he's there and he's answering your questions.
Wonderful.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Marilyn
Thank you,
Larson.
John. Anything else you would like to say while you're on?
I don't have anything else. No, thank you.
Okay, we'll say goodbye, but stick with us, okay?
I'm still on watching you. Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you, John.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Was he saying Marilyn Larson, Larsen?
Yes.
Sen. Her maiden name was Warnicki.
Yeah, I've got her email. I'll send it to Patty.
Thank you.
What happened to Mel Butler? He was on before too, wasn't he?
I don't know. I haven't heard from him. But I have some people to follow up on now because they've been in the past. And so maybe they just couldn't do it today, but I want to make sure.
What happened to Dr. Menninger? Whoa,
He's there.
okay.
Okay, now in the fall, we have another reunion coming up. And if you have any thoughts on what you would like to see happen at that next reunion, let's do it with our next get together. So I'll pre-prep you for the meeting that we get together in 3 months. And Patty will give you a date for that.
Actually, I would like to give you my email so that you would send it to me now, because of course, you know, you have to sort of plan ahead for these kinds of things. And it is going to be in October at the usual time.
Oh, do you have a date now, Patty?
It's the 20th through the 19th through the 22nd. But in the meantime, if you have, as Terry said, if you have any ideas, we have started the happy hour several years ago, but now the Cardinal Society is doing that. And I believe there's a good chance that they'll be doing that this year as well. So the question is, would you like some other thing specifically that would go along with the whole homecoming problem, which is usually the same? You know, you'll have some tours and you'll have the president's reception and things like that. And so if they do the happy hour, then is there something else that you think it would be fun for us to do?
Well, some of the thoughts that we've had is that the president's address is a very, very popular and important presentation, and it's done in Memod. And Memod has what, 2,300 seats, something like that, and they broadcast it to anybody who's standing around outside. I think that is so important that it gets put on Zoom somewhere so that everybody all over the world can hear what the president has to say about Stanford and its past and its future. And I would love to see some of the really important classes without quizzes done on Zoom as well. So those are just the kind of things that are sort of perking around in the ionosphere to be considered. Well,
Coach Nico,
just keep those thoughts all in mind and we'll talk about them in 3 months when we
Right.
get together again.
well,
Or if you want to send me an email, that'll be great.
Remember, we have seniority. This is going to be our 70th reunion.
Yeah.
Right.
We realize. And I would think if we make a loud noise and say, you know, here we all are still. So there.
Citizens, we should get some kind of preference.
Before we go, Terry, we haven't heard from Dorcas what's happening in her life. She just got on.
Look at yeah,
Well, I can say that my office, which I'm sitting in right now, gets recarpeted on Monday. So it is a little bit upside down, including the desk, which is to my left on top of a counter. And the furniture and the file drawers of file cabinets have been taken out so that they can carpet. Carpet's been here for probably 50, almost 50 years.
Oh,
I'm sick of it.
Dorcas, where can I buy an avocado as big as the one next to you?
I don't know.
John,
Unless it was a, let's see, it could have been a Daily 11, which is a huge avocado. Tastes terrible.
and Don,
Yeah.
we'll give you one of those avocados just as soon as you bring your wheelbarrow.
Okay.
And Bill Fernandez, can you hear us and give us a blessing as we leave?
I hear you very well.
Okay, we can hear you too.
Yes.
Oh, Malamama, oh, Stanford 1953. Malamamala, 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 Stanford 1953. Allah.
Bill, you send me an interpretation of that and I will send it out to everybody.
It did give you a full translation.
Yes.
They're all nice words for all of you.
Thank
So
Mahalo, mahalo, mahalo to you.
Mahalo, mahalo.
Thank you so much. And thank you, Marge and Terry.
Yes.
This is
you,
so
Ben.
wonderful.
What a pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And
Okay.
we'll see you all in 3 months.
Okay.
And you're making your
Bye.
reservations for October.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank
thank
you.
you too.
Okay.
Thanks,
Vince,
everyone.
glad you joined us. John, glad you're with us, even though you can't see us. We can't see you.
Bye-bye, John.
Bye.
John.
Bye, Vince.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye now.
So good seeing you. And Fernandez, I hope you get your thing cleaned up. Okay. Bye-bye.
yeah.
Oops.
Good to the last click.
Yeah.
It's going to be the last click.
Okay. Adios.
Adios.
Bye-bye.
Tell me-
Dorcas, I have one of those big avocados hanging from my tree. And the horrible thing about it is you can't tell when it's ripe.
Oh, they
Well,
look gorgeous though.
It'll fall, oh, well.
Yeah,
It
they're
depends
just
on whether it's mature or whether it's ripe. There's a difference.
Oh,
Yes.
Did you know that?
no.
Well, the oil content has to be a certain point where it's mature. And when it's ripe is then when the inside is edible. You
That's
can
fair.
put an avocado in your hand if it just gives.
a little bit.
Don't squeeze it, don't put your finger in it. Just see, you can tell if it just gives a little, then it's ready to eat.
And that test might well apply to any of us as well.
I like that.
All right. We gotta turn him off. He's gonna keep up.
I think that's wonderful.
Is soft better than firm then?
I hope so. I'm pretty soft.
We get squishier all the time.
I'm squishy. Oh, yeah.
Here.